Well, good evening, Jack. The parents behind that petition generating quite the following tonight. The city has a theory. They say if you fix what you have here, then it's likely the homes can be rebuilt too. All of them standing for justice for 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Since Thanksgiving, the homes here have been a part of an elaborate scheme. The study suggests that officer hours can be demanding. In Iowa City, the chief here says that might be true. Here at the convention center in Coralville, the chairs are now empty. They're all scattered. The signs are coming down. And a parking lot, though, caught many off guard, and they say they want the parking lot to go and the church, as you see it, to stay. You can see the tents and a lot of debris is still here, but the people are not. Roughly 500 people, Jack. That's how many organizers estimated came here, turned out at the Ped Mall, all of them standing for justice for 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. But it was also an opportunity for people to talk about race relations issues right here in the corridor.
Please join me in a moment of silence.
Hundreds stood silent, wearing their hoodies in honor of Trayvon Martin. Ironically, to a sound typically associated with trouble, but this group of culturally diverse people come with a common purpose.
I'm out here for justice.
We stand here for justice.
This rally in Iowa City, just one of countless others happening across the country. Supporters carrying their signs, armed with a bag of Skittles and an iced tea. 17-year-old Trayvon Martin had those same items when he was gunned down.
He was the same age as me, and there's a lot of people my age out today.
A number of the rally speakers were young African Americans. Organizers wanted to start a conversation on race relations, hoping these young stories would spark some change.
I know what it's like to be spit on or attempted to be spit on. I know what it's like to have people say so many negative things about me.
Something a lot of people in this crowd say they too have dealt with, but today they say this moment is about a boy who can no longer speak for himself. Things wrapped up here shortly after 8 tonight, but I'm told by organizers that they insist this conversation is far from over. In fact, they tell me it's likely to continue. Covering the corridor live from Iowa City tonight, Kelsey Minor, CBS 2 News. Packed inside a Tiffin church, these residents are fed up with the sins of a burglar.
We are going to make our house as least attractive as possible.
Each one of them telling a story.
I know we got hit on Thanksgiving because we saw 3 individuals at 1 that morning.
Their homes the target of thieves. Since Thanksgiving, the homes here have been a part of an elaborate scheme. Residents say their homes have been watched and their cars, many of them, vandalized.
There's been accounts of people seeing individuals walking through the neighborhood, suspicious, late at night.
Darren Lewis has been back in Tiffin for 3 years. He's now coordinating efforts to develop a neighborhood watch.
I think it's just real important that the community get together and create a network so we can get a control on this.
The Johnson County Sheriff's Office is also involved, offering up a reward for anyone with information on the burglaries.
Please just talk to your neighbors.
These residents aren't sitting on the sidelines. They are working to take their neighborhood back.
If we become organized, we're going to be a harder target for them.
They are hoping their new neighborhood crime watch makes the crooks the targets instead. Covering the corridor in Tiffin, Kelsey Minor, CBS 2 News. Well, good evening, Jack. The parents behind that petition generating quite the following tonight. What they're saying is their East Side schools are dated and overcrowded, so they're appealing to the district leaders here, board members, saying that a new East Side school is needed. On a day like this one, through the sounds of the wind, you can hear the sound of school-age children.
We added 442 students to this district this year.
Schools across Iowa City are seeing growth, and East Side parents want to get ahead of the growing school district.
6 of the current East Side elementary schools in Iowa City are already over capacity, and will quickly use up the remaining 158 seats here in the next year and a half.
Through the online petition, they have generated hundreds of signatures. Parents want the school board to allocate silo funds for the construction of a new East Side elementary school.
I think it's long overdue.
Christine Swanson has 2 children already in the school system, and soon her youngest one will fill one of those remaining empty seats. She says a new school on this side of town would benefit the entire city.
I think it would also help promote east side growth and stuff as far as home expansion, building and things.
Another concern is over money the parents say is on hold for a new comprehensive high school that wouldn't be built for another 5 to 7 years.
Why are we tying up money for 5 to 7 years when we have critical needs today?
Now, according to those parents, the school board has been very cooperative in listening to their concerns. I'm told a number of forums have already taken place about this issue, but it could take some time before a decision is reached on if a new elementary school will indeed happen here on the east side. Covering the corridor tonight live from Iowa City, Kelsey Minor, Fox News at 9. In Iowa City, we took a ride with Officer Nick Brokaw.
I'm assigned to Area 3. It's basically the east side of town.
He spends his nights on patrol.
It's much easier once you get out of training and you're on a set shift.
But he admits the job has its challenges. The Journal of the American Medical Association highlighted one where it suggests excessive sleepiness is common among officers, citing overtime as a factor.
In an attempt to limit the drowsiness of our officers, our personnel work 8-hour days.
Lane County Sheriff Brian Gardner keeps a close watch on the amount of overtime in his department.
It's not uncommon for a deputy to work maybe a shift or 2 of overtime a week.
Cedar Rapids police earlier this year found itself explaining why an officer fell asleep on the job. The study suggests that officer hours can be demanding. In Iowa City, the chief here says that might be true, but ultimately he says a sleep-deprived officer could amount to personal issues and have nothing to do with the job.
A lot of it depends on what else they have, whether they're balancing family and those kind of things as well.
Which brings us back to the ride with Officer Brokaw, who makes sure he's well rested before any shift.
Typical like any other person. Some nights you get 8 hours of sleep, sometimes you get 10.
All in effort not to fall asleep on the job. Covering the corridor in Iowa City, Kelsey Minor, Fox News at 9. Good evening, Jack. This, like most things, boils down to dollars and cents. The church has been here behind me, as you see it, for a number of years and was sold to St. Luke's. A parking lot, though, caught many off guard, and they say they want the parking lot to go and the church, as you see it, to stay. Over the years, Kay Beatty has seen the landscape of Cedar Rapids change.
I think it's kind of sad the way we're tearing down so many significant buildings.
First Christian Church near downtown is scheduled to come down next.
It seems to me they could hopefully make something better use of this.
The church was sold to St. Luke's nearly 2 years ago, and with the construction of a new medical complex just across the street, the hospital wants to tear it down to make way for a parking structure. The concern is over the historical value of the building. After being purchased by St. Luke's, they found the building itself had no historical value, but the stained glass windows did, and those will be preserved. Kay is one of a handful of people who don't want to see the church demolished. In fact, letters have been written to the mayor and city council asking to stop it. But according to a spokesperson at St. Luke's, the hospital made its plan public last February and asked for public feedback and received none. As for the council member Monica Vernon says the council did all it could by placing a 60-day hold on demolition.
The church owned the property, and the church congregation decided to sell the church. Our hands are tied. We don't have any more tools to stop this.
Kay Beatty just hopes her work isn't done in vain. She wants someone to listen.
I also would like to plead to the doctors at PCI and the board members at the St. Luke's Hospital to try to get them to stop the demolition.
And the city really can't do much because the church is privately owned. If the plug is pulled on this, it will have to be done by PCI or St. Luke's. What the city plans to do, however, is to start looking for historic buildings in this area, and they plan to do so with the help of the Historic Preservation Committee. Covering the corridor tonight in Cedar Rapids, Kelsey Minor, Fox News at 9. Social media is big right now, and police officers realize that a number of the agencies use it to stay connected with the community, but say a suspect is on the loose. And putting that information on sites like Facebook or Twitter can generate tips and leads, and that potentially can lead to an arrest. Iowa City police officer is attacked. The struggle caught on dash cam. Help! Surveillance photos show the suspect in a nearby restaurant. And across Johnson County, a new crime fighting tool brings in the tips to his identity.
And ultimately, it was very successful in getting that person apprehended.
It is social media. Facebook and Twitter, new crime fighting tools for the modern digital age.
The community is a little more techno-savvy with all the cell phones and computers.
So local law enforcement agencies are getting social.
Our police department initially started with Twitter, and that was about 4 years ago.
Today, the number of Twitter users following Coralville police is around 900.
It's great to have that kind of instantaneous connection with people in the community that you wouldn't otherwise have.
It's a service law enforcement agencies are using a number of different ways. For example, letting you know when snow hits the ground or special projects in your community. But they're also using it as a way to fight crime.
We're able to get out information, safety information, and self-protection information to arm our citizens, to arm our community, to better protect themselves.
The University of Iowa Public Safety Department is ranked 5th by the International Association of Police Chiefs for the number of followers on its social media sites.
We decided last year to actually take another look at our social media and be a little more proactive.
And Johnson County Police Agency saw a record number of followers in January when they sought help finding Brandon Plummer, the man who allegedly attacked that Iowa City police officer. Like Facebook and Twitter, police officers know social media, and the way it can be used is evolving.
Part of our goal was to continually change the face and update the social media to keep people interested.
Interested in a tool to protect the communities in which we live. And more people are turning to Facebook and Twitter to connect with police. The officers we spoke to say it's possible that one day the social networking sites would be an avenue to report crimes as well. Covering the corridor from downtown Cedar Rapids tonight, Kelsey Minor, CBS 2 News.